Want to learn how to make a delicious appetizer that pairs well with a dark beer? Join me as we make this appetizer that has roasted plums, phyllo pastry, brie cheese, and delicious Bobcaygeon Brewing beer. Join me as we learn how to make this. Welcome to our series Farm to Fork. I'm Chef Connie Powers and you're watching Rogers TV. This is season 4 and in each season we have 16 episodes. We are going to be taking you on tours of 16 different food producers during the fall and the winter. Today we are taking you to Bobcaygeon Brewing Company. They have their headquarters in Bobcaygeon, but they have their facility to brew in Peterborough on the Parkway. There we went and we met with Richard Woods and he showed us everything. Now what really surprised me is that yes, they brew the beer there, but they also have a pub and a meeting place and a place where you can go have food and drinks, and there's a gift shop. It's a fantastic place and they have great events. On September 20th, they are hosting a Bobtoberfest. Show up because they will have some great food, some great fun, and some great beer. We're going to be making a reduction to put on a delicious appetizer. We'll set these aside and we're going to be using the stout beer. It's similar to a Guinness, and that's what it's called, a sweet tooth salted caramel, and on the front it'll say an imperial pastry stout. So we're going to just take a saucepan and we are going to put the beer into degas. So for a full beer, oh look how dark that is. Now, oh look how dark it is. That's yummy. All right, you'll see there's the gas, the foam. We want to cook that off. In that beer, we're going to put about 1.25 cups of sugar because we're making a reduction. We're making a syrup. It seems like a lot of sugar, but we're making a syrup. I'm going to put 1.25. We're going to start with that. The appetizer is going to be a brie cheese with some baked plums in a phyllo pastry, and then we're going to use this beer reduction on top. What we want to do is cook this on a slow simmer to degas it, to let all of the gas dissipate and clarify. Let's get started on our appetizer. So we're going to use a phyllo pastry. If you don't want to use a phyllo, you could use a puff pastry. I've kept it a little bit damp because I didn't want it to dry out. So what we're going to do is just brush a little bit of melted butter through, in as many of the sheets as we can. It gives us you got to be careful with these, you know, they want to tear. I'm not going in between each sheet because it would be just a little bit too rich with the double cream brie. Okay, we're going to set this aside because we need this to roast our plums. We'll get this on our baking sheet. Now I do have a piece of parchment underneath it so I can slide it. That was a quick slide. All right, let's keep that ready to start building our brie. So what I've done is I have taken about 4 to 6, maybe there's a few more here because I don't mind having some extra. I've put them on a little cooking sheet with some pastry, with some parchment paper And then I'm going to be using a little bit of butter and a little bit of maple syrup to roast those. Now these are plum cots, some people would call them in different areas. I call them Italian plums. They're not, you could use the big plums, these are just the little ones. I'm gonna brush those with butter. You see why I didn't put so much butter in the phyllo pastry. However, we don't want that to be dry. All right, that's a good amount of butter. We're still going to use it to baste a little bit onto our phyllo pastry when we get the cheese in there. And now we're just going to drizzle a little bit of maple syrup. This maple syrup is from Kennedy Farms in Omemee. All right, let's pop this into the oven for about 20 minutes. They're going to get nice and roasted, and then we'll get our brie out. We have basted our puff pastry just a little bit, and now we're going to take a 250-gram wheel of brie. This is a double cream brie. We're going to place that right in the middle, and then we are going to make sure we brush a lot of butter. We're going to use some butter on the top of it. Here's the topping that we're going to use here. We're going to take about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and some balsamic vinegar. Looks like I need some more balsamic vinegar. You know, a couple tablespoons of that. This is going to give it a nice tangy note compared to the creaminess of the brie. Make sure all the sugar gets dissolved as best we can. And just start placing that on top. It's going to bake right in. I want to just score it a bit. Just score it. Lightly, not too deep. And then we're going to start folding the puff pastry over. Not the parchment paper. Just fold it like a package. All 4 corners in. All right, I'm going to trim this up and we're going to get it ready for the oven. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. And we're back. I'm Chef Connie Powers, and you're watching Farm to Fork on Rogers TV. Today we are taking you to 649 The Parkway in Peterborough to Bobcaygeon Brewing Company. We visited with Richard Wood and his staff, and we learned a lot about their beer. This company started in about 2017, sitting on a dock, having a beer and thinking, hey, we could make this. We could do a craft brewing company, and they did. So we went there, we visited with them, and we learned a lot about how many beers they have. Today, we are making an appetizer using their stout, their salted caramel pastry stout. We have wrapped a 250-gram wheel of brie into some phyllo pastry. You can use puff pastry, you can use phyllo pastry, your choice. A little bit different. The puff pastry you wouldn't need to baby the edges like I had to on this because you don't want this to dry out. Now we've used a little bit of butter. We're going to just finish this off. I trimmed it during the break because there was just a lot of excess phyllo pastry and I don't want it to dominate the cheese inside. It's going to come out a rich, ooey, gooey cheese to dip apples, crackers, or any vegetable into. And I'm going to set that aside. We have plums roasting in the oven. I have a beer reduction. Now, if you look at this, you can see the gas is already starting to dissipate. I have made some for ahead of time because This will take a little bit of time, but that's okay. That's going nicely. We're going to top it with a tied sprig of some thyme, and we're going to put this in the oven. This will take another 20 to 25 minutes. We're going to take you on the tour of Bobcaygeon Brewing. Take a look at this. Welcome to our series Farm to Fork. I'm Chef Connie Powers, and today we find ourselves at Bobcaygeon Brewing in Peterborough, Ontario. We are about to meet the owner and operator, Richard Wood. Let's go see what he has to tell us. Hey, Richard, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Connie.
Thanks for having us here today. So this is Bobcaygeon Brewing in Peterborough.
Yeah, so we've been working on our spot in Bobcaygeon for a couple of years now, but had a few delays and red tape issues that we've had to face there. So in the meantime, we opened up our innovation lab in Peterborough. We brew beer on site and package beer on site. As well, we've got our tap room and retail store, which we're standing in right now.
So the company started around 2017, correct?
Yes.
So hi, nice to meet you. I'm Chef Connie Powers. You are?
My name is Clint Peregrine. I'm the brewer here at Bobcaygeon Brewing Company.
Oh, how long have you been doing that?
About 18 months.
And how does one become that?
Well, I have a background in chemical engineering.
Okay, that helps. All right, well, take us through this. What are we seeing here?
Yeah, so this is where we make all of our beer. So if we come on through here,
okay,
just watch your step.
Yep.
We are brewing today, so it's an active site.
Great.
But on the side here, we've got our brewing system. So it's a 3-vessel brewing system. On the far end, we've got our hot liquor tank, followed by our mash tun. So in the fermenters, we've got that sugary wort, is what it's called. That
sugary
wort.
Wort, okay.
So it's that sugary liquid that I was talking about. So we're adding our yeast here as well, and the yeast is then going to eat those sugars and produce CO2 and alcohol.
We're going to ask Clint some questions because I started asking him, and this is interesting stuff. So what can go wrong?
Okay, well, on the hot side here, when we're in the mash lauter tun, any kind of contaminants or anything like that that fell into the wort could potentially be an issue. However, most of that is going to get filtered out by the grain bed itself. So we have this natural filtration bed form, and all kinds of contaminants will get caught in that and not go through with the actual wort. Then when it gets to the boil kettle, we're heating it up to a boil, and that will kill off pretty much any kind of bacteria or anything like that.
So this is where things could get remedied if it happened.
Exactly. So any kind of infection or anything like that at this point will get removed.
So I've been to farms where the byproduct is being served or being delivered to feed cattle and pigs. Mm-hmm. So is that the wort that you're talking about? Where do we get this
Gotcha.
stuff? Yeah.
So the wort is actually the liquid. It's the pre-beer. So that's basically just grain water, kind of like if you extracted the liquid out of oatmeal or something like that.
Okay, but the ingredient that is falling, is that the byproduct that is?
Yes, so that byproduct is all the grain, like husk and protein and everything that's not extracted out, remains here in the mash lauter tun as I pull all the liquid over to the BK. Then afterwards, I will shovel all of that grain into this tote here. And that's what we give to, we actually have a cow farmer we're working at.
This is a really cool design on this can. Who designed that?
Thank you. Yeah, our graphic designer, Ryan Dawson, did. He's done a lot of great work for us. We really wanted to capture all the stages of the various Pete's teams and their various logos. So, we've got some old classic logos here when they were the TPT team.
Yeah, I see that.
We've got one of our old can designs there as a little Easter egg. It's a really fun can.
A lot in that picture. It's
yeah.
Great. Cool. What would you produce in a day? So I see there's lots here.
Yeah, a typical run will get us anywhere from 200 to 250 cases of beer.
Okay. So we've just left the production area where the vats are. We met with Clint there, who is the engineer that's developing the beer. And then we were into the bottling, I guess it would be the canning
line.
And so we saw that happening. Right now they're doing a lager that is connected with the Peterborough Pete's. And now we're here in the more fun part of the place, in my opinion. And we're here with Luke, and he is
I'm the taproom manager, so I'm sort of here almost every day during the week and plan all the events that we do and the fun farmers markets and different beer fests.
Well, like I was saying to Richard, I don't think people realize that this is this kind of an establishment where you can come in here any day at noon, because you open at noon, and have a beer, have a snack.
Yeah, it's a great place to even get some work done or some light reading. We have people come in and sit with a book or the computer, have a sneaky little beer and a small pizza, and it's a good way to spend your afternoon.
It's warm, it's cozy, you've got some couches over there. I see you've got board games, so it has that vibe when you come in here of a cool place to hang out.
Yeah, it's sort of like your cool friend's basement.
Yeah, I like that. So you're open from 12 until 8, did I see?
Most days of the week. Monday, Tuesdays is a little bit different. You usually close around 6 those days, and then on Friday and Saturday we actually open at 11. We get some people coming in early.
Early, and then any events that go on here?
Yeah, so every Wednesday night we do trivia starting around 6 o'clock.
Oh, that's fun.
So we make the categories, we host it ourselves. We usually get a pretty good turnout. It gets a little bit competitive.
I'll bet it does. So you were telling me that there's events throughout, probably mostly in the summer.
Yeah.
So we would find you at the Bobcaygeon Farmers Market.
Bobcaygeon Farmers Market, the Peterborough Farmers Market, the Lindsay Farmers Market, as well as most of the beer fests throughout the Kawartha Lakes. And,
so the Bobcaygeon Beer Fest, I've seen you there. You kind of run the joint. And
we help out at the Kawartha Craft Beer Fest as well, which is in Peterborough.
Oh, okay.
And as well, sort of just as stuff pops up, we go to them.
Well, we see you everywhere. If there's a rib fest there, you are. We see you everywhere. So people can come here, they can watch out for your events, and your email is going to be right here, so we'll see where we can find you.
Yeah.
So in talking about the Bobcaygeon site, you're saying that it's maybe not where you produce it, but it'd be a great place to have as a second location?
Yeah, we will have some brewing on site, but we're in over 200 LCBOs across the province, a number of grocery stores, and now convenience stores are fairly new, so we're sort of ramping up in those markets. So this location is a much more conducive for us to get product in and out and actually produce.
And with the focus being on Canadian-made, local-made, your product being in LCBOs front and center, being served in a lot of establishments across the Kawartha Lakes. Do you go? You must be beyond Kawartha Lakes by now.
Yeah, in the LCBO, we are in stores across the province. From Windsor up to Cornwall, up to Thunder Bay. So we do have a fairly widespread distribution in that sense. In terms of bars and restaurants, we do definitely focus on our local area. That's where most of our customers are, and we're happy to have their support.
Great. All right, so what are we...
Prost.
What are we drinking here?
This is our Bobtoberfest beer. So we do our annual Oktoberfest in September, as is traditional in Germany. And we brew a special beer for it. So it's a fest beer is the style. It's stronger. It's up around 6%. German-style lager. You're going to get a lot of malty notes, a bit of bread notes, and just sort of a mild hop bitterness in the finish.
It's really delicious. So your Oktoberfest, where does it take place?
It takes place right here at the brewery. So we open up our facility. We've got a patio. We'll have live music.
Sausages.
Sausages, yeah. Well, definitely a food vendor. And yeah, it's an annual event that we always look forward to every year. And it's going to be on September 20th this year in 2025.
September 20th, 2025. And we'll find this on your website. We'll find this everywhere. This will be the place to be. Definitely,
yeah. No, it's been a great event for us, as this will be our third year hosting it, and we're really excited to bring it back. We always get a lot of requests on when's Bobtoberfest happening, and yeah, no, perfect opportunity to drink your liters of beer and hang out and enjoy some food and some live music.
You were telling me about, and Luke was telling me about a beer mustard.
Yeah.
I think we should make that.
I really like that idea.
Yeah, let's try that. And this, I'm not a beer drinker. I could be one after this. That was a great tour. Welcome back. We are just taking this out of the oven. So we're making a phyllo pastry brie topped with roasted plum appetizer and a beer reduction. Let's recap. So we started our cooking off with a beer reduction, and here's the progress. This is going to take a couple hours. Now, I wanted to just remind you, this is a 2-quart saucepan. If you are a devil for punishment, you might want to do it in a 3 or 4 quart, because as the gas is dissipating and as you're stirring it, it tends to rush up and give you that feeling like it's going to boil over. It won't in a 2-quart, but be safe. So that's going to take a couple more hours. It's looking good, but it's about halfway. I have some that I made previously. We took a 250-gram wheel of brie, and we put some nice seasonings on it. Before I went for the tour, I did sprinkle it with some salt. So we're going to remove this from the hot pan, and we're going to place it into our serving platter. Now this is pretty hot, so I want to be careful. All right. Okay, so I've got a serving platter that has a little bit of a lip on it, because when we put it in, I'm going to be dressing it a bit. So we are going to put this onto our serving platter, like so. And the fun begins of making it really nice. So we're going to remove the thyme. It did its job. We are going to brush it with a little bit of butter. Here it is. I'm keeping it warm. Now, if you're using puff pastry, you wouldn't be using the butter so much. You'd be using an egg wash. I did trim the pastry a bit because it was a little too much, and we want the cheese, not all the pastry. Okay, we'll take that off. And now we're going to gently open it. Not too deep. Hear the crunchiness of and you can see it starting to, the cheese starting to ooze out. That's great. Okay, we opened it a little. We don't want to open it all the way. That's the joy of when you actually get into it. And now we're going to place our roasted plums. It's great when the plum syrup just drips down. Put as many as you want. You could even put some around the edges. All right, on top of that, we are going to, remember our brown sugar balsamic, we're going to just drizzle a little bit of that to give that sharpness. Mostly on top of the plums again. Okay, we're done with that. And then the topper is the beer jelly that I made, beer syrup reduction that I made with the stout. So we're going to, this is one that I made yesterday, and you can see that it is a reduction that's now down to just a glaze. You'll find this recipe at the end of this episode. And it isn't very difficult to make, and it comes out so beautiful for the effort you have to put into it. Now we're going to serve it with a knife, just in case someone doesn't want to get too goopy with it. And then we're going to make some green apple Granny Smith segments to dip into that. Now, of course, if you're eating this with beer as an appetizer, crackers, pretzels, you could also do this with cranberries. You could do it with peaches. There's so many varieties of fruit you could use there. That's a lot. I can dress up the sides if I want with it. I can put some nice crackers, some pressed crackers in there. And there you have it, a beautiful appetizer. Now we're going to choose which beer goes with this. I'm thinking that the red ale, because it's nice and dark. Let's use that one. So our next episode is going to be Lady Day Farm between Uxbridge, Port Perry area. Stay tuned for that. And we're going to get into this because I think my camera crew is salivating right now. So, Bobcaygeon Brewing, the best place to be on September 20th. Thanks for showing up today. In the meantime, keep cooking.